guys, Chris with Springwood Farms. So we're out here today in the spring woods out on the property, and we're going to talk about a 100-hour use so far and what I think of my John Deere 3035D. It's a 2020 model. I was originally out on tractor work on a 1950 Ford 8N, and it had a little bit of power. It was able to do what I wanted to do, but it was just a little tired. So shout out to my local John Deere dealer, Blanchard Equipment in Augusta, Georgia. They hooked me up with a deal that I couldn't turn down. So my goal today is to talk to you about my thoughts so far with it, what I've been able to get accomplished, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, what maintenance I've gone through, a little overview of some of the equipment that I've got. And that's going to be it, guys. So we're going to do a quick walk around, guys, just so you can get an idea. Here's my Tartar land rake. So first we're going to talk about what 3035 means. As you can see here, it's a 30 series tractor. 35 is an engine horsepower and D is the model type. It came with a 300E 300 economy loader. It's got a decent sized bucket. The bucket on the front is the light duty use. On average, it's about a $200 difference between this and the heavy duty bucket. The heavy duty bucket, the big difference, it's got a slightly different gauge steel on the side so it doesn't dent up as easily. One of the big things that I would suggest you looking into is the John Deere iMatch. It is the perfect companion for your 3-point hitch. It really makes hooking up to implements so much easier. The 3035D, the D being the basic model, doesn't come with quite all the bells and whistles that the other one does. You still have a manual top link, obviously a 540 output PTO, old school shackles. But back to what I was saying about the quick link, is it couldn't be easier to hook things up. You've got control arms on the left and the right with your Cat 1 hookups on top, and it's got Cat 1 to Cat 3 conversion. You slide this in and out, you pull up to your piece of equipment, back up to it, make sure you're aligned. Off to work you go, guys. Now it has a 9-gallon fuel tank. It's super easy to get to. The one thing I don't like is your fuel gauge is back here. It's not electronically monitored to anywhere on your dash or to the John Deere Connect to where you can Bluetooth follow your tractor. So this tractor is a 8/8, and by that I mean that you've got 4 forward gears and a high range, which is towards the forward, and high range is towards the back, low range is towards the forward, so that gives you the 8 forward. That also works in reverse. Here's your hand throttle, your foot throttle. You've got split brakes together. That's why they are right now. Over here you've got your differential lock. You have your implement up and down selection. You've also got a slide stop that lets you select how deep you want your implement to go. You've got a 5-way remote control, and I say it's 5-way because there's a hidden 5th mode, which is float. You can let it move, or you can lock it into position. John Deere was pretty awesome by coming with this factory grill guard. It has saved my skin. Here's your clutch over here. Again, low range, high range, neutral. Forward gears, neutral, reverse gears. You have a on-demand, and you can turn off the regen. And over here is your PTO. Currently, it is off. That would be on. Up here you've got your ROPS And if you're having to store it somewhere where you got to lower your ROPS, these are the pins to take them in and out. Like I say, guys, safety is always first. You need to use your ROPS whenever you're on the tractor. I don't care if you're moving it 10 feet, and I don't care if you're working for 10 hours. Put your ROPS up. That bar's the difference of if you go home and see your family at night. Over here, kind of hard to see from this angle, there is your oil. There's your main fuel filter. You have an inline filter. You got a fuel water separator. There's grease points everywhere on this tractor. My suggestion is that if you're going to use the tractor, you need to make sure that it's greased. John Deere did an ultra clean job of ensuring that all of your hydraulic lines were secured. It's not just a spaghetti junction mess. I appreciate their attention to detail and everything. And everything is, well, it's difficult to see here, but it's labeled color-wise. Really, the major issues that I've had with this tractor at 100 hours was initially hooking up all the implements. But like I said, guys, if you go with this iMatch system, and it ranges between, when I bought it, I want to say the price was $375. Now I could venture to say it's probably $4 and a quarter range. The only real issue that I've had with the tractor has really been operator error. Is down here, this huge filter right here. That's the hydraulic and transmission filter, and it's not guarded really well. So I was doing a little bit of dirt work and ran over a stick the size of your forearm, and it drove it straight through that filter, and I dumped probably 3 or 4 gallons of hydraulic fluid. Luckily, I could kill the hydraulics to the tractor, and I could get it to where I could change it safely, but that's maybe something that John Deere could think of, and maybe putting a guard around it so its shoes are serviceable. Really, the only defect that I've had of the tractor wasn't anything that I did. When I received the tractor, we did the walk around, and I was out doing some work. Same day, I want to say that I broke the hydraulic filter. When I found the stick in the yard, is there are some welds. They're difficult to see, but they're right here and one right there for this seat, which is super easy to service anything on. But right back in here, the mounts were faulty from the factory. I guess it was just a bad weld, and the seat came loose and it jostled around everywhere. But John Deere, being John Deere service, being excellent, they got it fixed, had it back to me in 2 to 3 days time. Now we're up here in the operator station. Very basic layout. You've got your temperature gauge, your tachometer, on your dash you're going to have engine hours, your vehicle hours, how many hours your PTO's been running, the soot level, your exhaust filter, and back to your engine hours. So let's crank it up for a second, let it run. So to crank this tractor, you do have to depress the clutch. We'll go through the motions on the bucket. You got a pretty good raise height. Yep, I didn't need that shovel. And like I was saying over here, you know, you got your throw your bucket in, throw your bucket out, raise your bucket, lower your bucket. And here's that 5th part. All the way up into a click, it goes into float mode. Now, some of the things that I really appreciate that John Deere's done is over here they've got a little tool compartment. Over here you've got a couple little holders. I've got a John Deere branded 5-foot rotary tiller that you tow behind the tractor. And guys, this is mostly hard pan dirt. We only made a couple of passes on this. It's pretty rocky. We had to come out and planted a little bit of wheat and some winter grass for the deer this year. By the way, they loved it. We had a great deer season this year. A couple of years we had the majority of this clear cut with a forestry mulching device. Man, I mean, it was a jungle. And the downside to that I've seen is when you do that, it leaves a lot of stumps. So initially, prior to getting the rotary tiller, I had come out with the box blade and we would drop the shanks down, and I would come through here and break the ground up, and then we'd come back through here with a disc harrow and we would break it up. And man, it took forever. So once I got that tiller, man, it changed the game. I came through here, and in probably the course of an afternoon, 2 to 3 hours of going over this slowly, it turned it into just absolute moon dust. And right now doesn't do it much justice because it's middle of January, not a whole lot's alive out here. But what you can see is it turned this little food plot, which a portion of it was also soybean, and I went out and I didn't have an actual caster, so I used a rolling Scotch turf thrower. But it did an excellent job. So that's going to be one of those implements that's an absolute must if you do any sort of work for people planting food plots or your own garden. Spend the extra money, buy a good reverse tine tiller. Now I'm going to tell you, when you run it, it will shake the teeth loose out of your head, but it is worth the aggravation, guys, I promise. So far in the 100 hours of use of my tractor, really the only services that I've had to do is outside of daily maintenance, and that being making sure that you have engine oil, making sure that you don't have any water in your diesel fuel, greasing all of your points that have the grease points for the raise and the lower arms, and there's a couple that are under the tractor, but really that's only every 10 hours, is I've had to replace the front axle oil. That's at 100 hours. I've had to replace the transmission fluid and the transmission filter outside of when I had the incident where we ran the stick over. And for your information, it's 9.5 gallons of high guard transmission fluid. Now you can consult your John Deere dealer and they do have some acceptable seconds to use, but like I've been saying from the beginning, guys, your tractor's under warranty. You don't want to make this kind of investment and then skimp on oil. If the difference is 20 bucks between the entirety of buying your oil, just spend the extra $20. That's been really the only major maintenance that I've had. There's no real learning curve. If you can operate a small lawn tractor, you can step up to this, and you can operate a regular sized John Deere tractor. The major upside that I like to this tractor, as opposed to some larger, maybe 40, 50 series tractor and the 30 series, yes, you do have the diesel particulate filter still, which is kind of annoying, but you don't have to mess with urea, so no DEF. That's one great thing in this 38 or 35 and below horsepower tractors. You don't really have to get into DEF. The tractor has a fairly regular scheduled maintenance for it having to do regen, and it fully alarms and lets you know that, I mean, and if you're operating the tractor like they tell you to, between 2,000 and 2,500 RPMs, you're rarely ever going to have to do a manual force regen. The regens that I've been through, I've been bush hogging, or I've been doing some sort of labor intensive work with a box blade or doing clearing work, and it's just done it. You can tell the tractor's doing it, but it doesn't slow down your work in the least bit. So overall, my review of the 3035 series tractor is John Deere hit it out of the ballpark on this one. I mean, I looked at some of the competitor brands between Massey Ferguson and Kubota, and I think that just the service and the availability of parts and the technicians that John Deere has got, so far I've been exceptionally happy with the purchase that I've made. Look guys, I look forward to doing some more work with you in the future. I look forward to making more content. The best way to help our channel is to like, comment, subscribe. You can go to our Facebook page, Springwood Farms. It's going to have a link to my YouTube, which is youtube.com/@SW22. The more hours that we get and the more likes we get, the more we can do. That having been said, guys, if you've got any ideas for videos that you want to see me do in the future, or if there's any questions or any random maintenance that comes up, look, I'm on this adventure with you guys, so shoot me a message. My email is linked through the YouTube. That's a good way to directly get in contact with me. If there's anything you guys want to know or anything you'd like to see done. So again, I know I'm beating a dead horse when I say this, but guys, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to finish this video with a couple of shots of a little bit of the work that I did with a tiller. I'm going to break out the tiller later on in another video. So we'll see you next time, guys.